Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes. Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes. Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes. Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio also spoke with his Danish counterpart Monday after President Trump's comments Sunday night about the Danish territory Greenland.
We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you that.
Denmark's ambassador to the U.S. posted on social media that Greenland is already a part of NATO and dedicated to the defense of the U.S., while adding his country expects full respect for the territorial integrity of the kingdom.
Okay, I would like to know, with Immaculate Constellation, how does this relate to UAP activities, Mr. Schellenberg, in oceanic environments? Are there any instances where the Navy or other maritime forces have encountered UAPs that could not be explained by known technology or natural phenomena?
Yeah, the Immaculate Constellation covers both terrestrial and oceanic, and there's actually a number of cases described in the report that occur in the ocean.
And do you believe that there is a concerted effort by the Pentagon to keep Congress out of the loop regarding these UAP activities, specifically in our waters?
Yes.
And so are there any accounts of UAPs emerging from or submerging into our water, which could indicate a base or presence beneath the ocean's surface?
I don't know about a base, but as I mentioned, I had a different source entirely describe this pretty extraordinary footage that exists of orbs, of an orb coming out of the ocean and being met by another orb.
I met the late Dr. Werner von Braun in early '74. At that time, von Braun was dying of cancer, but he assured me that he would live a few more years in order to tell me about the game that was being played. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it, he said, is a lie.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Everyone, hope you guys are doing fine. Good morning from Japan. Shout out to many people here. I'm glad, Tammy, you and Yuko got the Japanese green tea. Pastor from Serbia, we had a conversation the other day. Hope you're making progress there, Pastor, with biblical cosmology. So Victoria, hello Victoria, so many good people here today. Michigan's in the house. Amanda, Southern California, Matthew, Crystal's in the house. So thank you, all of you. Welcome to this Flat Earth Show. My Brazilian friends from Porto Alegre, whistleblower. So many good people here today. And we're going to talk about the fake alien invasion, possibly coming 2026 and 2027. They've been planning this for a long time. And I think, my opinion now, that we see things in a different point of view, with the little season point of view, that the North Pole really plays an important part in this game. Okay, in this game, so there we're going to talk about uh, Trump's move towards Greenland. You know, many things today. So you saw. It's amazing how many Globers are not talking about that when they came out saying that aliens were under the ocean. Never seen a Glober like talking about it because Glober likes the outer space idea, you know, NASA and all that stuff. But I saw no Globers talking about this whole alien things. Actually, it died down, you know, after they came out, the Congress hearing. I never heard any Glober talking about it, you know, explaining how can this be, you know. So my idea, that's my point of view. That's not really anything under because one of the clips that I'm gonna be playing in a few minutes talks about the waters, you know, according to the globe model, that are the ice in the north is melting. That's one of the reasons. So as we approach this year 2026, some people think this is the end of the Satan's little season. So things are going to get really wild from now on. And I believe things will get wild worldwide. You know, I was just replying to a message this morning. I know that in the US, I've seen many people on TikTok complaining about how difficult it's been for them to get a passport or to renew. It's taking too long, you know, even if they pay the expedite fee, it still takes months for them to get. Some of them are not having their passports issued. Some of them are having their passports canceled. Couple cases, people traveled, they left the US, no problem. Then when they arrived in their country of destination, they were deported because their passport were deemed as invalid. So lots of things going on, and I just got news 2 nights ago that the Brazilian government will also be uh, putting a pause in the issuing of passports, Brazilian passport. So what's going on? What? In my opinion, you know, an order is coming from the top of the pyramid, telling all these governments to prevent people from traveling, perhaps from escaping. Don't know what's going on, but something's coming up this year, 2026, and I believe this whole arts thing has something to do with what's coming. You know, the camp of the saints and all of that. So we're gonna look at some more clips here that talks about the North Pole, and then I'll share more thoughts. Okay, let's watch this one here.
And here in Washington, where President Donald Trump has announced a defense deal with Finland, one that could reshape America's presence in the Arctic. The U.S. Coast Guard will buy 4 icebreaker ships from Finland and build up to 7 more in American shipyards.
We're buying the finest icebreakers in the world, and Finland's known for making them. They sort of have almost a monopoly on icebreakers, if you think about it. Nobody makes them like Finland. I've heard that for a long time. So we're going to have a total of 11.
President Trump told reporters that he and the Finnish president had discussed icebreakers in earlier talks. Recalling that Russia has 40 of them, he agreed that the cooperation was proof that both nations were acting together to meet shared security needs.
I remember our first conversation just after you had been elected in November. The first thing you mentioned was icebreakers. We need them, and then we've been working on this issue ever since. I think this is a huge strategic decision by the president as well, because we all know that the Arctic is important strategically, militarily, and in terms of the economy as well. And now we can work on this together.
Currently, Russia has 41 icebreakers, which is the largest fleet in the world, including 8 nuclear-powered vessels and dozens more medium-sized ships.
Dave Foggia, he sent me a message about the icebreakers, and that was back in 2025. This is not new news. This one actually was from 2025. I think it was October when Trump wanted to get from 2 to 40 icebreakers at the North Pole. You know, they are commissioning. They're going to be making some in the U.S. They're ordering some from Finland. So what's going on at the North Pole? Why all this, um, interest here in this region, right? So I will share my thoughts. Of course, this is the 1500s Mercator projection of the North Pole. We know that on the globe today, they only see ice, which has to do with the changes that happened in the 1700s. We will be talking about a lot of things happened in the 1700s, possibly when Satan was let loose, and a lot of shifts in continents and islands, changes in, and possibly it was covered in ice, and now it's time when this ice is melting. Perhaps this land is being revealed again, and they need to access the island. So if around here it's still ice, they need those icebreakers to get to those islands, because that's my opinion, all right? No, it's not, vision or anything. That's just my opinion. We will be talking about some of the events that happened in the 1700s that I believe flooded this area. And, purposely, if you read the hagiography documents, the Lord hid those lands so the wicked during the time of Satan's little season would not just go there, and invade. But the time is coming when this land will be revealed again, and they want to have access to that, and they want to get there. So they need the icebreakers to, to make sure they can reach this land in the North Pole. All right, so I have. I'm sorry that I'm not keeping up with the chat. I will try to. It's just that we have a lot of to cover today. Let's look at this second clip here real quick.
The commander-in-chief turned his gaze north to ice, silence, and power. Greenland.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
And just like that, the MAGA machine roared to life. A map of Greenland draped in the American flag. One word stamped across it: soon. Trump's language is no longer casual or joking. Denmark insists America already has military access. Washington wants more, and perhaps without asking Copenhagen. The ice is melting, the Arctic is opening, and Greenland is no longer just frozen land.
All right, very interesting. You see here, they say the ice is melting, the land is opening, So they need to get there to this region right here in the center. So they use words like Russia or China, but we all know that these people work together. There's no enemy between those enmity between these people. They work together on a higher level. On the lower level, they show us that they might be enemies, but they are all controlled by the same, power, the same pyramid structure. Okay, the top of the pyramid controls everything, controls all those nations: Russia, China, and the U.S. So Trump is moving towards the acquiring, and not only Greenland. I believe his goal will be either 2026 or 2027 will be Canada. So to all my friends in Canada listening to the show today, they are moving north. Yes, they want something in the South and Central America as well, but they are moving north, right? What are their intentions? So let's watch another clip here before we go to the chat.
Today, the White House press secretary gave this statement to the BBC in which she said that President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States and that it is vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. The President and his team, she said, are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal, and of course utilising the US military is always an option at the Commander-in-Chief's disposal.
All right, so that's the goal. There's no really national security threat there, especially you have Canada in between, but the US already has a presence there. They have an Arctic treaty. If you guys don't know, a couple of years ago, I did a show, I believe, or a video talking about the Arctic treaty. They do have an Arctic treaty, So and that's my opinion, weighing this thing in, looking at it with the different eyes, with the little season eyes, knowing that the highest mountain there, Rupes Nigra, that's, I was listening, I was extremely surprised because I was listening to this pastor yesterday and he was preaching a powerful sermon and he was talking about how this island, those 4 islands and the Rupes Nigra being the tallest mountain is the one where the devil took Jesus, and from there he did a 360 showing all the kingdoms of the earth, very interesting. So I'm so happy that so many people are waking up to that, the lies of dispensationalism that we've been talking about for some time. Things are different than what we have learned, right? Thank you, Pastor Tikrev. I really enjoy, your presence here. Thank you, so many of you. All right, we will be back. I will try to keep up with the chat today. All right, but it's just like this stuff is really important. It was on the news all week. This move towards acquiring Greenland, and yeah, biblical, biblical cosmology. So this whole acquiring of Greenland, there's a lot of things that are not being told to us, the real reasons. And looking at from a biblical cosmology, lyricism perspective, we can understand this move, because Russia is already there, and Europe, many countries in Europe are already there. So the US wants to have total access. So pretty much we'll be surrounding. Let me see if I find a map here so we can cover this up with the map. I have, I think I have let me see here. This is, I'm just trying to find a map here that has the 4 islands. The whole map, the Gleason's map, I do have somewhere here. Just find the season. Okay, I think this one works here. Let me see. Well, okay, I'll just use this one here. It doesn't have the 4 islands, but later during the break, I will get one, So let's look at this map. This is the Gleason's map showing the North Pole. Some people criticize and say, oh, this Gleason map does not have the middle, the 4 islands in the middle. Well, remember that if you read the book, Gleason's book, he wanted to have his map patented. So to have this map on every school in the US. And the only way they would allow the patent, it was if he did it the way, more or less, that looks like the globe. And the globe doesn't show any island here. So he had to do it, like to be able to have his map allowed, patent allowed, and have the map on the schools in every school. So I understand his sometimes you have like, we cannot say certain words here because otherwise YouTube takes our videos down, so we have to be careful. So he was careful at his time. He had to dance according to the music, so he could have his map in every classroom. And thank God he did that, because otherwise many people would not have had access to this map as we do today. So let's quick look here. So here's the US right here, and they want to acquire Greenland, and then I believe they're going to close in, Greenland here, Alaska here, the US, and then they're going to close into Canada. They'll definitely, it's obvious. They're not going to let Canada here stand in the middle. They will go over, they'll go take over, So to my Canadian friends, that's my opinion, that's just my perspective, how I see things. So you see here the Camp of Descent in the middle will be surrounded. You have Russia or Magog right here, and you have the European Union on this side, and you're going to have the whole US here, So it's going to be surrounded, right? It makes a lot of sense, when you look from a Little Season perspective, right? So let me go ahead and try to find the map. I'm going to play our first song for the show, and then we'll get back in just a minute. Let me play a song here that I haven't played in a while. DJ New Moon. I'll play the North Pole song. This is really nice. Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
Take your trip down south, a bit of fun to do. I hope you find what you're looking for. I pray you don't turn blue. I am lured up to the north, a feeling stuck like glue. I sense the answers that I seek on a mountain called Nauru. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip. Making the dreadful trip with hugs all around from the flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I feel I could trek with compass in my hand, keep my sights on the needle north, wind up in a far-off land, become a bold explorer, traversing sea and land, perhaps a little pirate-like, with a cutlass in each hand. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around from the flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I know this sounds like a pipe dream. Maybe I've lost my grip. Maybe this is a call to someone with a ship. Perhaps it's just a shout out to all the dreamers. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around for my fellow flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, for making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around and fellow flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script.
Nice, nice song by Kevin about the North Pole. Thanks, Tony. Hey, Banjo, love your content. You have so many flat earthers behind you, brother. Keep up the good work. Thanks so much. Those are great words, of encouragement, because we're going against the flow, all these globers, those fake flat earthers, the new flat earth society. I'm going to be talking about the new flat earth society today. So it's not easy sometimes, but I appreciate your comment, brother. So I did find a map here, and I saw one comment saying that somebody else agrees with me that they will probably take Canada over. I think so. So Canadians, you gotta make plans for, I don't know, some sort of martial law or something there, because they're gonna come and take over. That's my opinion. So I did find a very interesting stuff here. First, let's go to this. This is the new school, right? So look at the winds right here. This is let's look from this perspective first. You see North America here, Greenland, right? Russia right here, Europe. But let's zoom in. Let's see what's going on. See there, the mountain in the middle? See, blocking the winds? Yes. Right there. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. See, like Rups Nigra. Right there. So that's the highest mountain in the world. That's where the devil took Jesus and did a 360 degrees, show him all the kingdoms of the earth. All right. So there you see, it's right in the middle. If you see where the coordinate, the longitude lines cross, it's right there in the middle. You see, something's block all this wind. Let me see here if we get data. Sometimes you can get data. I forgot how to do it. Right there. 89 north, 60 north, 140 west wind, 320 pascals, 9 kilometers per hour, whatever. But that's it. There you have it right there. Okay, so this is where the Rupes Nigra is, So when the Globers say there's only an ocean there, no, you see the highest mountain, they're just hiding the land around it. And another interesting thing that I want to show you, I asked ChatGPT to show me, to illustrate the North Pole and with war ships around it. And ChatGPT did describe the whirlpool here in the middle. I didn't ask ChatGPT to do it for me. It just did. So you can see here some sort of a whirlpool right here. That's the winds, of course. It's loading. But you see here one right here, right? So this is according to the globe. And I believe the land was once hidden. After the events of the 1700s, all the land of Jesus, which I found a map right here. This land right here that used to exist there, connecting Greenland all the way to North Pole. And we're going to look at some interesting stuff today about the earthquakes that totally hit this area. And that's what we have now. Now we have the land. According to the what's the name, hagiography documents, the land receded, went down. So probably the called the ice covered the region now, but the ice is melting. The ice is melting, and now we have just ice there. But the mountain's there. All right, just go to nose school and zoom in all the way. You see right in the middle where the coordinates meet, right here, right there. Rufus Nigra is still there. I show this to your globe friends. Right? Doesn't make sense on the globe. This is the magnetic mountain where all the all the compasses point to. All right. So I want to show you some of the videos that I was telling you. So I'll go back to the, all right, guys, just hang on there in the chat. Actually, if you have any questions that I'm not able to answer, please leave a comment when we finish the video today, the show. Leave a comment there, and we will, we know the land appears there. So when the video ends, I will go back and answer all the questions. Okay. So let me bring this here for you guys to see. Very interesting about the things that happened in the 1700s. Right. Let's start with this one here. 1700s earthquake. Oops. All right. So let's listen to this.
Lisbon was the metropolis, the capital of a worldwide colonial empire. In 1755, Lisbon was the metropolis, the capital of a worldwide colonial empire that stretched into Africa with Angola and Mozambique and Cabo Verde, also to Asia with Goa and Macau, and of course to Latin America with Brazil. Portugal was a very, very rich kingdom thanks to those riches from the colonies.
Portugal's was the first truly global empire, built on gold, sugar, and spices that flowed into Lisbon.
Suddenly, everything began to feel different. The seagulls began to screech, and then the tragedy started. And then the tsunami came.
The news reached all the great minds of the time, many who were starting to look at the world in a new way, many we now associate with the Age of Enlightenment. Science was emerging as a better way to explain the world and the way it worked. It was this man, the Prime Minister of Portugal, who many credit with the birth of a new school of science. The Marquis of Pombal was the king's right-hand man, and he was tasked with rebuilding the city of Lisbon.
He began to send out questionnaires to every parish to ask, how long did the earth shake? How strongly? What damages did it cause? How many people died? Did you notice any strange signs before the earthquake? This questionnaire was sent back to him, and his team analyzed and compiled a kind of booklet about all the coincidences everywhere, until a pattern began to emerge. And that became the basis of the seismology science as we know it today. On that day, humanity began to wake up.
All right, so you saw there, they associated that with the light of Age of Enlightenment.
Of the time.
Somewhere here, right? So that was in the 1700s when this earthquake happened, and actually changed the history. Portugal was no longer an empire. But not only that, look at this one here, that was in Sweden. Same thing happened, right? Same thing happened. So let's look at this one. It's a shorter video, but important, really important. that's from this channel here. I want to give him credit. I downloaded just a few minutes, but you can. It's 50 minutes long. It's really not gonna cover everything. Just a few minutes, just one or two. Really,
I first encountered the anomaly in a municipal archive in Stockholm, hunched over a leather-bound registry that smelled of mold and centuries. The document, dated 1702, described the reconstruction of the city center, following what it termed the Great Upheaval. What made me pause wasn't the reference to reconstruction. Fires and disasters were common enough in pre-industrial cities. What stopped me was a single line in the surveyor's notes. Foundation walls discovered a depth of 4 Ls, construction unknown, predating the catastrophe. 4 Ls, roughly 14 feet below what was then ground level. The surveyor had found buildings, intact buildings, buried beneath the streets they were supposedly rebuilding. I spent the next 3 years following that thread. What I discovered wasn't a single disaster, but evidence of a reset so profound that it fractured the historical record itself. The official narrative presents the late 17th and early 18th centuries as a period of gradual development, the scientific revolution giving way to the Enlightenment. But when you examine the physical evidence, the architecture, the infrastructure, the geological deposits, a different story emerges. One that suggests human civilization didn't advance through this period, it recovered. This is an investigation into what happened around the year 1700, an event so catastrophic it appears to have been systematically erased from historical memory. What I can show you is a pattern, destruction, burial, and coordinated reconstruction that appears in the archaeological and architectural record across continents. The official story tells us the world transitioned smoothly from the 1600s into the 1700s, but the buildings buried beneath our cities, the renovation records that make no sense, the synchronized reconstruction projects across unconnected continents, and the sudden appearance of new technologies that seem to have no developmental predecessors tell a different story entirely. Standing in Gamla Stan, Stockholm's old town, you're walking on streets that municipal records claim were laid down in the early 1700s, part of the rebuilding effort after the Great Northern War. The buildings around you, merchants' houses and civic structures, carry plaques dating them to 1710, 1715, 1720. This is the official timeline, but dig down, literally, and another city emerges. In 1998, during subway expansion work near Slussen, construction crews broke through into a chamber system that shouldn't exist. I examined the engineering reports from that incident. The chambers were found at a depth of 18 feet below current street level. They were constructed of cut granite blocks, each weighing between 8 and 12 tons, fitted together with tolerances measured in millimeters. The chambers themselves formed part of a hydraulic system, and I mean a sophisticated hydraulic system, with pressure equalization features, overflow channels, and what the engineering report described as flow regulation mechanisms of unknown design. The project was halted for 6 weeks. I traced the paperwork through 3 different municipal departments. The chambers were documented, photographed, then filled with concrete. The official explanation: unstable foundation cavities from medieval construction. But the
all right, that's all we need to hear from there. You see, they found the hydraulic system. If you watch the whole video, it was so advanced that the engineers at the time could not replicate. So they had to start from scratch their own hydraulic system to keep the city, out of danger of being flooded. But they could not replicate the hydraulic system they found. So just like they did with the bones of giants, they threw them in the ocean. The same thing with the structures they found in Stockholm. They filled the concrete. Now the video goes on. The same thing is it's found in Scotland, Norway, you know, and you saw what happened in Portugal. Now the coincidence is that every one of these videos claim that from that time an age of enlightenment started. Now we know that the Lucifer is the light bearer, you know, the angel of light, the fallen angel of light, and those devil worshippers, you know, that for them he is the light. You know, that's what you find in Freemasonry when they start following Freemasonry, whatever they say, "Oh, I see the light," or "I found the light," something like that. So they associate everything that happened with this age of enlightenment. Now, if you go over the hagiography documents, you see there that upon Satan's release, the planets or the stars or the falling, I mean, the wandering stars would have some sort of conjunction, and earthquakes would be one of the effects of the Satan's announcing that Satan was going to be released, right? So there's a lot of things to do with Satan's little season, what happened in the 1700s, and it's time now, 250 years or so. I'm not saying exactly. I don't know when exactly Satan was let loose, but anyway, something is changing now. The water in the North Pole is melting, or they want more icebreakers to get access to these 4 islands here. You know, at some point they will show them, or these islands will be shown again, will come up or something, you know. And at some point they will want to invade that area, because they invade everywhere, you know. There's no place there where they don't want to invade. They invaded Africa, you know, they invaded South America, they invaded Australia, they invaded, you know, Asia, everywhere, you know. But there's this place here they don't have power over. Why? You know, it's because it's the, in my opinion, the camp of the saints. And that's where they want to go. That's the next step. They tried to go to Antarctica, and they found a barrier there, the ice wall. There was nowhere to go. They came back to the center of the Earth, North Pole. All right, these are my opinions. All right, so let me see what else I have about this topic. Because we're going to switch back to the Antarctica. I have some things about TFE. I was not going to talk about TFE today, but something came up just a couple of days ago, so I want to talk about it. First of all, I want to shout out to a friend from Patreon from Denmark. He sent me a video, and I was supposed to show this last weekend, and you know, I failed to do it. It's just like, you know, the show is short, and I have so many things to do. Thank you. He's a Patreon. So he sent me this, and you know, something I had never seen. You can find the whole video online. It's 1 hour long. That's NASA footage. See here, you have a light shining on the chest of the astronaut right here. See there? The light is shining right on his outfit, okay? His suit. But when he walks away, you know, this is supposed to be the blackness of space, according to the astronaut Paul Mitano, whatever his name is. But look when he walks away from the light. It shines in the back. So it shows that this is a backdrop. See there? He walks away. It's just like you stand in front of a high beam of a car at night, you know, and there's a wall behind you. When you walk away, the light is going to hit the wall. So the same thing here. Nice catch, you know, from my friend in Denmark. So thanks for sharing this video with us. Here's one more proof that the moon landing, just like TFE, is just as fake as you know, a $7 bill, you know. But there you have right there. for the video. Thank you for sharing. So I want to talk about, let's switch to the South Pole for a minute. Well, there's no South Pole, of course. Let's go to Antarctica. So you guys know, I was not going to talk about TFE this week, but something came up, so I have to talk. You know, I showed last week how you gotta be facing north. You see Mount Rosman behind Griffith sits right here. You know, the sun is always shining in the north, okay, towards the south. You never see the sun really behind this, except in Bill Duffy's TFE. You know, it's the only time in history. I got messages and emails. Nobody can find the footage of the sun behind the mountain ever. I've looked for the last 40 years of Brazilian presence in the Antarctica. I look at all the videos, the military, and, you know, information, nothing. You find nothing. And you find nowhere else, only on TFE because it's a movie. I wonder if whenever they release that, the mockumentary at the end, there will be written very tiny letters that you cannot see. You will find there for entertainment purpose only, because it's gotta be. There's no truth. No university will use the data of these guys. You know, nobody. It's just a movie for entertainment. So what I want to show, you know, again here, if you are in Antarctica, the sun is always at north. You know, no matter where you are, the sun is always, you gotta face north, and the sun will be right shining on your face, just like it's happening with these guys here, right? So thanks to here again, this was from a military Brazilian officer who was in Antarctica for 1 year, and he was describing, okay, he was in Antarctica facing north, right here. This is east, this is west, facing north. He spent 1 year, not 3 days like the shields from TFE. 1 year studying the sun, and he said in July, when it's their winter, the sun moves along the equator. Okay, he's facing north, so the sun rises east and sets west. While he's facing north, the sun is right on the horizon. It doesn't go higher than that. During their summer, the sun rises, you know, but it's still they gotta look towards the north. It comes closer to them, you know, and then sets. That's how it is. He described it. I showed the video. I translated. I added subtitles. You know, it's in my channel there. All right, so I downloaded the 538 pages of the. This is the report, the 1956 report. Hold on, it's taking a while to load. This is the Operation High Jump, the report. Okay. Hold on, guys, just loading. Sometimes, you know, it takes a while to load this document. All right. So let me zoom in a bit. Just a tiny bit. It's still loading, so sorry about that. It's the AI assistant. I don't like this stuff here. They forced to us. I don't want it. Thank you. So I think it works now. Zooming in a little bit. Yeah. All right. So this is the Defense Technical Information Center, unclassified. Armed Service Technical Information Agency, classification changed to unclassified. So this is the report of Operation High Jump. The high jump was 1946 to 1947. They spent August, September, October, November, December, January, February, about 5 to 6 months there. But the highest point was December and January, when they conducted all the experiments. And that's important for you all to see. Report of Operation High Jump. West Navy Antarctic Development Project, 1947. The report came out in 1956. So look what we found. This is the online version. Now it was Christmas Eve, and we rigged the trees, arranged presents. The chaplain held divine services in a very cold hangar. At 22:30, the sun set. The sun set. He's describing Operation High Jump. He's in Antarctica, describing that the sun set on Christmas Eve, December. All right? Let's go on. There's more. So heavy winter, flying clothes only, smallest people can be shoe normal into its cockpit because they were flying. They were taking off and flying over, you can calculate there maybe 5,000 feet to 8,000 feet in altitude flying over Antarctica. The navigator got his first star sight today since January 7. Our drift was 240. The sunset was beautiful tonight. The sunset was beautiful tonight. Well, you have 4 months in the North Pole where the sun doesn't set for 4 months, But seems like in Antarctica, sunsets there are normal. And now we are getting used to have the sun to the north at noon. Just like those guys see the sun at north, they were at 68 degrees south. Right? But remember, they were flying 8,000 feet high, so they were seeing much farther down south, and they captured the sun setting. Photographers rigged their cameras at sunset, again sunset. I think this is January 4th, to get a picture of the green flash, that phenomenon of the setting sun in a clear atmosphere. So somehow when the sun sets there is a green flash. Maybe portals, I don't know. There was a brief green flash, but it didn't show up in the colored stills. Perhaps it was caught in the movies. Next morning, so there is night there, the sun sets. All right? So I only went through a couple pages. This is page 27. The report is 538 pages. So the only time the sun doesn't set was when TFE conducted their experiments, which leads us to believe they are fakes, So these guys, man, you gotta think this is, to my opinion, the new Flat Earth Society right here. These guys are the Flat Earth Society 2.0. There's no doubt about it. So I came up with this deck of cards of the shields here. All of them involved at TFE at some point. You see Duffy, who perhaps, in my opinion, is not really the mastermind. Somebody else is behind him. And you have the filmmaker, Hollywood filmmaker right here, Jonathan Mariande. You have another talent, like central casting, Mrs. Candace Owens and her, another filmmaker here, cameraman. And we have this lady that I had never heard before in my life, never heard of her, another actress. And these two here, this guy with the orange hat and this guy, both of them, making fool of themselves, debating Duffy, talking about a 24-hour sun in Antarctica and a flat earth, control position, because I never heard from these two guys either. They all came along with Duffy. We have the two jokers here, the two jokers. Mr. Whitsitt, this person here, another shield, this one here, he interviewed Mariande. He was very friendly with him. Another control position, Flat Earth Society 2.0 leader here, leader of the fake. This lady here saying that there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. This guy who is supporting all these shields here. This one here, Paul on the ball, no longer Paul on the plane. This guy here, another one making flat Earth looks silly, saying there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica when there isn't. And another here, you know, all those guys, Flat Earth Society 2.0, you know, and look at this stuff here, you know. I just came across this video, guys. It's Friday. This was from Friday. Okay, take a listen at this one here.
Always above your sky, day or night. Like for me, I know where Polaris is day or night. It's never moving. I know approximately where the Big Dipper is day or night.
Right.
Okay. So all I'm asking.
See, then for somebody like me and like you, we've never been in the South. So to ask me to point out the Southern Cross is not something I've ever done before.
You've never been in the South, Jared?
Oh boy.
You just said that, not me.
It's something I've never done before. I've never been able to pick out the Southern Cross in the sky. I've never had to do that. Oh, it's so funny. You can't do it either. So show me where the Southern Cross is.
Maybe Freudian slip. Maybe.
Show me the Southern Cross.
Okay. Yo, did you just say we've never been to the South? I'll agree with you. I've never been there. But...
Oh.
Yeah, no.
It's like dealing with, I mean, I'm just done. I don't even want to do this anymore. You guys are,
For somebody like me and like you, we've never been in the South. 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 Never been in the South.
There here from the horse's mouth. It's never been the South. Was Amazon Studio, you know, 15 or whatever. I mean, this stuff, you know, it's just like Buzz Aldrin. You cannot keep a lie. You know, once in a while, you know, you're caught off guard and then you sleep, you know. And this guy is just like, you know, just like Buzz Aldrin, you know. There you have there, never been to the South. I mean, it was there supposedly the South. You know, if you go to the South America, you see the cross, you know, the crux, Southern Star, the Southern Cross there. You know, you just said it. You know, you heard from the horse's mouth. Never been to the South. Thank you. Yes, I mean, these people, those are the Flat Earth Society 2.0, you know, definitely 2.0. And what do we have? What do we have, you know? Look what we have. What we have is total control of position. You have this guy who is now a glober debating this guy who supposedly is a flat earther. But in fact, you know, it's just like this, you know, those, what's it called? Botches in World War. See this guy there? He hurt himself and he pretends he's all hurt. Look at the fake punching, you know? Look at this judge right there, the referee. Nobody hit him, he's pretending, you know? Look at those clowns, you know? So this Jared and David Wise, just like this World Wrestling, you know, matches there, you know? They're all friends. In the very end, they celebrate, they drink their beer, they laugh behind the scenes, you know? Oh, mockery. See that fake punching right there? It's just like watching, you know, this debate, you know, like with Jeranism against, with David Wise, Jeranism against with Sid. You know, they just have all the control position right there, you know? They control everything. But I'm glad that we are making progress. But I see David, and I'll just put out there. Well, he does do some stuff for us. When he goes to the world stage, he makes a mockery. So, you know, control the position, pushing the 189 continents, you know, all that stuff. He is not a believer. Yeah, he goes where the money is. You know, he funds both sides, you know. All right, let's play another song here. And then we should come back. Let me play a song that I haven't played in a while. Let's see here. I do want to play. I'm gonna play. DJ Newman. Yeah, let's listen to it.
Feel the ground shake when I step to the side. Flat as a board, no curve, it's a ride. Every truth they told, just a part of the game. Open your mind, we can break the frame. Look at the horizon, this straight line. Secrets unfold, now it's our time. Everybody wake up, can you feel that thrill? Flat like a sheet, can you keep it real? Everybody wake up, as the truth unfolds. The world is flat, this story is bold. What they talk, dig a little deep. On this battle, set thumb in my whip, pray to trick round is a myth. Let the truth hit it. House that earth, though in mind you can keep. Bending around, it's a straight terrain. Together we'll shout, break the chain of the plane. Everybody wake up, can you feel that thrill? Flat like a sheet, can you keep it real? Everybody wake up, as the truth unfolds. The world is flat, this story is bold. These guys, they spin them, hold me down on this flat earth. I know we're my crown. Together we'll rise, let the world unite. In this truth we find, we magnetize. Everybody wake up, can you feel that thrill? Flat like a sheet, can you keep it real? Everybody wake up, as the truth unfolds. The world is flat, this story is bold. Bending around, it's a straight terrain. Together we'll shout, break the chain of the plane. Everybody wake up, can you feel that thrill? Flat like a sheet, can you keep it real? Everybody wake up, as the truth unfolds. The world is flat, this story is bold. These guys, they spin them, hold me down on this flat earth. I know we're my crown. Together we'll rise, let the world unite. In this truth we find, we magnetize. Everybody wake up, can you feel that thrill? Flat like a sheet, can you keep it real? Everybody wake up, as the truth unfolds. The world is flat, this story is bold.
Shout out to my brother Iron Flat Earth. I think Dave is okay. The rest of them being shown as scammers. All right, brother. The problem is like Dave Wise. He is in on it. You know, I didn't want to believe, but listen, I had communication with him privately. So in the beginning of 2024, when this thing started to take place, this whole TFE thing, he defended. He for him, Jerry was the guy that had to go. I mean, it's just like Jerry had already been cast a long time ago since Behind the Curve, because he's an actor, he's a shield, an actor. And Dave pushed him. You saw the videos I played several times when he says, "Oh, he's the best guy. He's the best guy." Guy doesn't even know how to handle the compass. Doesn't even know how to find the Southern Star, the Southern Cross. There, you know, so many wrong things. I mean, the guy had no capacity to represent flat Earth, even if he was a flat earther. Even if he was a flat earther, he would not be a good person to represent flat Earth. So I saw that. Many people saw that, but David was fighting for him before. I'm talking about like several months. So when I did my first video on Jerem, he posted some like threats, like you see what's gonna happen, you know, like you started a war, you know, you started a war. Someday I might access my Skype because I haven't, you know, accessed my Skype ever since. But someday I will, and I will show you the messages. He was mad because I was talking about Jaron. I was bringing this up, you know. He was like, "You started a war. You see what's gonna happen now." Blah blah blah, you know. And he makes threats, you know. Believe it or not, he's not that nice guy. He is, but if you play with him, he's very nice. That's the thing with the whole why he has so many people support him, because he's smart. Okay, for example, he went to a very small flat earth channel. They were having a live stream there. He punched in $100, you know, like the chat, you know, chat box, whatever. I don't have that. YouTube won't allow me to have you know, chat, super chat, I guess. He punches in $100. So, you know, that's how he gets people to support him. So he can do any, that's control opposition. So that's why they had that chill meetup, you know, 24 hours meetup or whatever, right after TFE, you know, because all those people, he kind of, through his app, helps financially, you know, like promote their stores or whatever. And I knew I could be one of them too, but I'm for truth, you know. Yeah, I lost a lot of things, you know, but I don't mind, you know. I didn't like it because they were throwing flat earth under the bus, and that's what they did. So yeah, he plays nice, but you know, he's not on our side. He defends Jaron still today. Okay, ask him, did Jaron lie? He will say, no, Jaron's not lying. He saw some fake sun there. All right, Flat Earth Patriot, shout out to you, brother. Um, Dealing with Glober Shields reminds me of the song by Steelers, Wheelers, Clowns to Left, Jokers. Yeah, definitely. Right. So I'm see if I can get some through some of the chat here. Sorry that you know. What's a stage? Yes, it's a stage. Player deplorables in the house. Control the position is going to act like your buddy and try to act like they are your friend. Their job is to deceive you. Remember that clip I used to play? Marlon talking to uh, Truman. I'll see if I have that stuff here. You know. And a couple more. Let me see if I have some more. Yeah, so many comments, so it's hard for me to go over them all. But that's the thing, you know. They he approaches you. He's your friend, but he wants to control you. You know, don't they say like keep your friends close and your enemies closer? Yeah, that's where you get it. You know, that's why they want to be close, and but not because they are on our side. They are really control opposition. In my opinion, Flat Earth 2.0 or whatever agents they are, you know, they do. He defends, you know. Ask David Wise, is Jet online? Because there's no 24-hour sun Antarctica. I just went through the report, Operation High Jump report. They described the sun setting on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. They described the sunset in January. They described the sun setting even when we were flying, taking photographs of the sunset. So there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Look at all the edition from the uh, Encyclopedia Britannica or the American Encyclopedia, whatever. You see there that the sun sets. You know, there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. There's a 24-hour of daylight, which if I learn how to do the animation, I'll explain, you know, but I'll try to explain now. The only time you have 12 hours exactly of daylight and nighttime is during the equinox. Equinox means equal nights, okay, equal time, because you have 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night when the sun is at the equator. When the sun moves to the Tropic of Capricorn in the south, the sun has to move faster. I have shown here the eclipse in the south, how it goes faster than the north. So as the sun moves faster, it advances to imagine the yin-yang, the Korean yin-yang, whatever they call. The sun advances because it moves faster. advance to the darker area, bringing light. So that's why the daytime there is longer, because you have daytime and the sunlight illuminating the night. So that extended the hours. And the faster the sun goes, more of this night time gets to be illuminated by the sun. So you have the daytime light and the sunlight. Remember, the Bible said the sun is supposed to be governing the day. But when the sun moves to the Capricorn, has to move faster. So it illuminates the area, the dark area in front of it. When it moves to the tropical Cancer, it's the opposite. The sun has to go slower. It does move a little bit slower. So it falls behind. The daytime light advances. It covers part of the nighttime that's behind. It comes behind. So imagine the yin yang. Someday I will make this animation. That's how it works. So that's why it gets to a day where you have 24-hour daylight, because you have the sun illuminating the night and the daylight behind. That's what it happens. When it comes back, it starts going back to normal until we have the equinox. So I will make this animation someday. I hope I'll make it. Exactly. The sun sets here in the north. I live in Japan. The north, it lasts longer. But in the south, where I was born at the Tropic of Capricorn, raised there, and then we moved south of Capricorn. So we were playing in the afternoon, and all of a sudden it got dark. It gets dark so fast because the sun there moves faster. Sorry, guys, I've been talking a lot. The show has been interesting today, lots of topics to cover, and I want to make sure that I cover everything. Let me show perhaps. Oh, yeah, I need to highlight this. This is a Rakia community. So let me share this real quick with you guys. I got an email from a friend in Norway. So she has a website, and she's adding the Psalm 91. That's a biblical cosmology website. I'm going to share the link here if you guys want to visit and give her support. She's got in different languages: Danish, French, Germany, Italy, Japan, Polish, I guess, Portuguese, Spain, Sweden, UK, USA. So God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters. All right, so there's many passages there. So email me, get in touch with her. So this is the link for the website. It's all biblical that's how we grow. We only grow with biblical cosmology. Let the shields fight themselves, all those shields. So this is the website, Biblical Cosmology. All right, visit, like it, subscribe, or add to your favorites. And she's doing this so Christians, people who subscribe to biblical cosmology. All right, so a big shout out to you. And let me see if I have some more. I have this is Flatter Deplorable, showing how this control opposition, showing the one eye symbolism, just like Flatzoid did, So we have this area here. This is South America. We have Uruguay and Argentina. And we have this area here where from Buenos Aires, you can see the other side. So I asked JetGPT, that's 50 kilometers, 31 miles. You can see Buenos Aires. From Buenos Aires, you see Colonia del Sacramento, which is 50 kilometers, 31 miles away. So I asked ChatGPT, I'm showing my talk here. The red arrow, this is ChatGPT explaining that the distance there is 31 miles. So I said to ChatGPT, Earth is flat, then you can see Buenos Aires from Colonia del Sacramento, either daytime, good visibility, at night with night vision or with laser. Welcome to Flat Earth, ChatGPT. Seeing Buenos Aires from Colombia does not violate the spherical Earth. Why? The distance is only 50 kilometers or 31 miles. Over 50 kilometers, Earth's curvature drop is only about 20 meters. Both coastlines are near sea level, but buildings in Buenos Aires are 100 blah, blah, blah. This part here called a line. Light travels upward, not just along the surface. I reply, wrong, light curves downwards, no upwards. You're right to call that out, and on this specific point, you are correct. I misspoke earlier. Now, we know ChatGPT does not misspeak, it's a computer. I misspeak because I speak English with an accent, so sometimes I get confused, but not ChatGPT, it lied, okay? All right, guys, so let me see what else we have. We've been going on for an hour, 26 minutes. Is that right, 20? No, it's not. I think it's an hour, 21 minutes, so I appreciate we had a good crowd today, 131 people, 132, 135 people watching. But basically, this is wrapping up what we talked today. The North Pole, land of Jesus, the land of the saints, the camp of the saints, in my opinion, right here. North Pole, they want this land. They want access to these lands here. Whenever these lands arise, they want access, or if it's there, I don't know. We saw the globe, on the globe, the mountain in the middle. You can show this to your globe friends and ask, what's going on here? Why is this? There's something there blocking the wind. What's high enough to block all these winds, So we know the mountain is right there, right in the middle of the longitude lines. Okay, doesn't make sense in the globe earth, but it's right there. Maybe the next step, because they used to have the A map here, maybe the next step is remove these because they hide the truth. You don't know, right? So summing up what we talked today, this is one of the topics. They are hiding their true intentions at the North Pole. Unfortunately, I think my Canadian friends, I think their move is to annex True Christian. I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe we want to talk about someday. But I think that their goal is to annex Canada, militarily, just like they're going to do with Greenland. And prepare, they will surround the Camp of Descents. We also talk about the Flat Earth Society 2.0. That's what I believe it is. All these guys, X large here, my opinion, all these actors, central casting, playing the role of flat earthers, deceiving. Right? We talked about the documents, Operation High Jump. It's right there, the sunset. Christmas Eve, they even had like a, chaplain had a service there, the sunset. On Christmas Eve, they were flying, photographing the sunset. So a lot of important topics we talked today. Sorry, all the shout outs that I was not able to, shout out, but please leave a message, leave a post here at the end of the show, and I'll be answering each and every one of you. Okay. So guys, I think we're going to wrap up the show for today. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you want to, I have one more thing to say. Just hang on, just one more minute. I want to shout out to a couple of friends, people who have even gotten the poster, the map, or the book. Thank you, appreciate. And you've been sending me your pictures. My friend here from Japan. This is Dave. I'll give shout out to you, brother. I mean, you have made a difference. And yes, I'm very interested in making this, but not 3D printing, which would take forever and be very expensive. I want to mass produce this a little deeper here, the oceans being deeper, so we can feel the water, but entirely made in plastic. So I'll see if I contact somebody in China somewhere. We gotta start making this in about 20 or 25 centimeters, about 12 inches, 15 to, not 15, maybe 13 inches, 14, right? With the oceans a little bit deeper so kids can throw water and put little boats here, paper boats, and see how we circumnavigate. That's a big project. If you guys want to help me with this, we need to mass produce this stuff, and I'll try to contact people in China if you know how to do this stuff, like how we can get this done. We need to get it done. Okay, I had people in Brazil asking me so they can having churches, maybe private schools, to demonstrate how circumnavigation is done with real water, pour real, just like I have my model. We can do this, you know. So we need to mass produce this stuff, you know. So help me out with this if you know how we can get it done. Not 3D printing, because 3D will take a, you know, will be very expensive. We need to mass produce, sell this for like $3 each, you know, $1 each, or give it for free. All right. So now that's it for today. Okay. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Support the channel, you know, if you can, become a patron or visit the store. You know, my store is there. Get a map, give as a present. I uploaded this video. I don't care about the views. Just make sure you download and upload to your channels. Let's spread the message. Flat Earth, biblical flat Earth cosmology. Visit the channel. Get a map there. You have the map store. Right? You have all sorts of maps there. Thanks to Rick. Rick has been helping. He put up the website. You know, got all sorts of maps there. We even added the Land of Jesus there. You know, so it's just a way to support the channel. So now that's it for today. Let me see if I don't want to finish the show with like 133 minutes. So then make sure we are not there. 127. I think we will. If I close right now, we'll be short to that. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you next week, if the Lord so allow me to. God bless each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. Bye bye.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratospherius, a scientist curious to see what was there. An aluminium black ball on a helium balloon, with photos and instruments, sailed towards the moon, rose in just half an hour, 52,000 feet, 10 miles of dense air pressure, left for dead, trapped in heat and cold, but disproving gravity. Wonderful, mystical, beautiful sight, flat line separation of black from blue light, a world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, stealing our light. Mystical, fluorescent light, wonderful, magical, awesome, yes, stealing our light. Wonderful, let there be light, supernatural, eternal, supernatural. Up we go, higher than rainbows, higher than mountains, above cumulonimbus, higher than air, high level horizon, 360 around us, but right round behind us, any height that you dare. The sun and the moon both revolve above around us, to forever show time pass intelligently there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, no more you deceive us, keep through you like air. Kipper and Picard were the first ever known to reach up there. Divine, luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed hid by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing our light. Here we go, higher than Everest, higher than airplanes, above zero cumulus, higher than air. explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard. Never you'll defeat us, forever beneath us. We see through you like air.